Good morning class 10 students. I welcome you all on this online platform provided by Jagrati Classes. We were doing chapter How Do Organisms Reproduce? That is chapter 8 of your science CBSE textbooks, and we'll be continuing with our lesson. So this video is for class 10th and we are doing chapter 8, that is How Do Organisms Reproduce? And for this we'll be continuing with our chapter. In the last video lecture, we have discussed the different types of pollination or the different categories of pollination. I also told you what do you have in a flower, that is we are discussing the topic sexual reproduction in flowers or in flowering plants. So the reproductive part in angiosperm, that is in flowering plants for sexual reproduction, is the flower. And in the flower, I have told you the anatomy, that is the different parts of flower contain and their functions in brief. So we saw that a flower contains some basic parts, that is petals, sepals. So what is the function of petals? Petals are the colorful portions of a flower and their function is to attract the insects for pollination. Then we had the second part as sepals. So sepals are the green colored, usually they are green colored, they are present at the base of the petals and they provide support to the petals. The next part which we had is androecium and gynoecium. That is the male reproductive part and the female reproductive part. And in the last class we have discussed complete structure of both the parts. Gynoecium, which is the female reproductive part of the flower, it is often named as pistil. And for androecium, androecium is named as stamens. So I have told you, I'll give you a quick recap. We had the female reproductive part of the flower and the male reproductive part of the flower. The female reproductive part was known as pistil, or it is also called gynoecium, whereas the male reproductive part is known as stamen, or you can call it androecium. Now, in the female reproductive part, if you observe the diagram given in your books, that is the LS of flower, you can see. So, pistil or the female reproductive part has three parts. The first one is the stigma. The next one is the style, which is a tubular portion, and this bag-like portion is the ovary. And inside this ovary, you have different ovules. Okay? Inside the ovary, you have ovules. So, these all are the ovules present inside the ovary. Now we said that this is the female reproductive part. The male reproductive part has the structure. It has a stalk-like structure which is known as the filament, the stem-like structure, and then it has a bilobed structure which are known as anther. These lobes are called anther, and inside the anther you have tiny structures which are your pollen grains. So this we have discussed the male and female reproductive part of flower. Now we said that inside the ovary you have a egg cell, or you have a egg. So this egg which is present inside the ovary, this is known as the female gamete. Okay, this gamete is also called germ cell. Either you can call it the female germ cell or you can call it to be the female gamete. So here egg which is present inside the ovary, this is the female gamete of the flower of the plant, and in the male, this is the male reproductive organ, and the male gamete are these pollen grains. So pollen grains are the male germ cells or the male gametes present in the flower, and the flower reproduction is a kind of sexual reproduction which we are dealing with. Okay. So this all we have discussed in very detail in the last class. Now we will be dealing with how the reproduction occurs. So firstly, I told you in the last video lecture that for reproduction, we need to transport these pollen grains to the stigma. And this process of transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma, this process was called pollination. We have already discussed in the last class. So this is the pollination, and then we discussed two categories of pollination, that is self-pollination and cross-pollination. This all we have discussed. If you have not seen, you may see the previous video. So these are again a recap of self-pollination. Self-pollination, see this is the diagram. These are your anthers. okay, the yellow portion, and it contains pollen grains inside it. So when the pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower, of the single flower, it is called self-pollination. But cross-pollination means you have anthers contain pollen, and these pollen are transferred from one flower to the another next flower. These pollens will move to the stigma, and the pollens from this anther, that is the anther of the second flower, they will move to the stigma of your first or the previous flower. So this is cross-pollination, that is the process of cross-pollination here. Next, you can also see, this is also a similar diagram. We have seen that pollination, transfer of pollens can occur by various factors, that is by various agents. They may be biotic or abiotic. So you can see that here a bee, which is even known as pollinator. So this pollinator is transferring pollens. Once the bee sits on one flower to take nectar, that is the juice of the flower, then the pollens, which are sticky in nature, they stick to the body surface of this bee, and once this bee moves to the different flower, these pollen shed from the body of this bee to the stigma, which is your landing platform. And hence, this is a cross-pollination picture, whereas this diagram is of self-pollination. When the pollens are transferred from the anther, see, these are your anthers, and this you have stigma here, and these anthers contain pollen. So when the pollen grains transfer from the anther to the stigma of this same flower, it is called self-pollination. Okay. Now we'll be dealing, once the pollen have reached the stigma, now how reproduction occurs. So now we are starting reproduction in flowers, sexual reproduction in flowers, or you can even say in flowering plants. And the flowering plants are known as angiosperms. In class 9th, you have read about different classes or different plants, that is bryophytes, thallophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm, angiosperm, in the chapter Diversity in Living Organisms. So the flowering plants are known as angiosperms, those plants which contain flower in them. So now we are dealing with the reproduction. So firstly, you know that pollination will occur, that is the pollen grains from the anthers will come to stigma. Now see, I'll be drawing the rough sketches, okay, and writing in short. So now what we have, you have different kinds of pollen grains which have reached the stigma. Now it is also possible that pollen grains which have reached the stigma, they might come from some different variety of plant. Like if we require, this is the stigma of a hibiscus flower. So I require the pollens only from hibiscus flower to reach the stigma. But this is not so. The pollen grains from rose plant, from the jasmine plant, every pollen can reach this stigma. But this stigma will now select, this is the stigma which act as the landing platform for pollen. Okay. So after pollination, the pollen grains will reach the surface of stigma. Now let's suppose this is the correct pollen which I require. This is also correct. But these pollens came from different plants which are not required. So stigma has the ability to identify which are the correct pollens and which are not. Now how does stigma identifies? It undergoes a chemical reaction sort of thing with the pollens, and then it selects the correct pollen. So this is not in detail, you should just remember that stigma has the ability to identify the correct pollens, and these correct pollens in science, these are also called as compatible. Okay, the correct ones, the compatible ones, and the pollens from the different plants are called incompatible pollens. So now what stigma will do, it will select the compatible pollens, that is the correct pollens which have came from the same plants. Once stigma does this, now these incorrect pollens which came from the different plants which were incompatible, they are being destroyed. These get destroyed on the stigma itself. and only these correct pollens will now germinate. That is, the compatible pollens will germinate. So the second step would be, after identification by the stigma, let's write in a form of flow chart. The first step is identification of compatible pollens, that is the correct pollens, by stigma. After this identification, the next step would be germination of pollen grains. So germination of pollen grains means, that is, now the pollen grains will form pollen tube. Formation of a tube-like structure from the pollen grains occur, and this tube is called pollen tube. So the compatible pollens, the correct pollens, will germinate on the surface of stigma and they will form the pollen tube. So let's suppose these two were the correct pollens, but it might happen that both these will initially start to form the pollen tube. But at a time, only one tube which will be formed fast or will be developed fast, it would only enter the style and the other tube gets destroyed with time. So now I'll make just one pollen here, which is the most compatible pollen and which forms the pollen tube. So this is your pollen which is selected by the stigma, and now germination of this pollen grain would occur, that is, this pollen grain would form the pollen tube. How this would occur? See. Okay. This pollen is forming a tube-like structure, and this tube would penetrate the style and it would reach the ovary. So this is the tube-like structure, that is the pollen tube which is forming, and it is going through the style and it would reach the ovary. Inside the ovary, what you have, I told you, you have ovules inside the ovary. How these ovules are formed, this also you will study, but in your higher classes. So you have to remember that inside the ovary you have ovules, and the arrangement of ovules is in this manner. Okay, these are the different cells which you have in ovule. So this is your ovary and this is your ovule. You have different kinds of cells in the ovule. This is style. We all know we are dealing with the female reproductive part, that is pistil or gynoecium. So once the correct pollen, it is allowed by the stigma to undergo germination. Now this pollen, or this is your pollen tube. So this pollen contains two male nuclei or two male gametes in it. These are the male gametes. These male gametes also have different size, okay? You will read this, that one of the male gametes, one male gamete is circular, while the other male gamete is tube-like. Okay, one is circular and the other is tube-like. It is even known as tube cell. So we'll be dealing with all these in your higher classes. You should remember now that first the stigma identifies the correct pollen, then that correct pollen undergoes the process of germination. Germination means it forms the pollen tube. Now you should remember that after the formation of pollen tube, this pollen tube contains two male gametes. And these two male gametes, I told you, they have different kinds of shape and different functions, but these are the two blue dots, that is the two male gametes present in your pollen tube. Now next what you will have is this pollen tube. It enters from a hole into the ovule, so it enters from the downside, okay? There is a opening, a short opening, a hole is present, which is called micropyle. This is a hole which is present here, and this pollen tube, it enters inside the ovule through this micropyle. Now you have different kinds of cells in the ovule. If you see clearly, I'll draw an enlarged structure of ovule, okay? We are talking about the ovule. So this is your ovule. Now you have different kinds of cells in the ovule. These are the cells with their own cell walls, and then you have the nucleus in between. Then here you have two nucleus, but they do not have any kind of cell wall. And here again you have three cells with their own cell wall and their own nucleus. So these three cells are known as antipodals. They are named as antipodals. The two nucleus, they do not have any cell wall covering around them. So these two are known as the polar nuclei. Okay, that is the plural of nucleus, nuclei. And this is your egg cell or the egg, and these two are known as synergids. So this is what I have drawn, the enlarged structure of ovule. So you have these different kinds of cells in your ovule. Now what will happen when this pollen tube enters the ovule? These two male gametes will also enter the ovule, okay? So now you have two male gametes which have entered in the ovule. These are the male gametes which traveled inside the pollen tube, and from here they have reached inside the ovule. Now one of the male gamete, you have two male gametes, let's write the first and the second one. So we are saying you have the first male gamete here and the second male gamete. These both are what? The male gametes which have traveled from the pollen tube. Now the first male gamete, it fertilizes with the egg. That is, it fuses, it combines with this egg cell. Let's draw this egg also with a different color. So this is the egg cell. Now what you have, this first male gamete combines with the egg cell, and when the male gamete combines with the egg cell, then you have the formation of zygote. We'll be writing in a flow chart, but first I'm explaining you that when these two male gametes from the pollen grain traveled through the pollen tube and entered the ovule, now what happens? The first male gamete combines or fuses with the egg and it forms zygote. The second male gamete, it undergoes fusion with these polar nuclei, and the second male gamete, when it combines with the polar nuclei, that is these two nucleus, it forms endosperm. Okay? So now let's continue our flow chart. Identification, then germination, that is formation of pollen tube. After the formation of pollen tube, the pollen tube contains two male gametes. Now we'll write it that the two male gametes which were present in the pollen tube, they enter ovule. Okay, I told you. See, these two male gametes, they enter the ovule. So these first and two, these are the male gametes. The first male gamete fuses with the egg to form zygote. So let's write it down in the flow chart. First male gamete, it fuses with the egg cell or the egg to form zygote. Then what you have next, once you have the formation of zygote, then see, the second male gamete fuses with the polar nuclei and it leads to the formation of endosperm. So after the fusion of first male gamete, you have to remember that first male gamete, it is fusing with the egg, it is undergoing fusion with the egg to form zygote. Now what next we have in the flow chart, that is the second male gamete, it fuses with what? It fuses with the polar nuclei. It fuses with polar nuclei, and after fusion, it forms endosperm. Okay, so here what are the important points? The important points here are the second male gamete, it is fusing with what? It is fusing with polar nuclei, and the resulting cell which is formed, it is known as endosperm. So this is known as, that is, these are two fusion. The first fusion, that is between the first male gamete and egg to produce zygote, this fusion, this type of combination is known as syngamy. So if you are asked, what is syngamy? Syngamy is the process in which male gamete fuses with the egg to form zygote. This is syngamy. And when the second male gamete combines with or fuses with the polar nuclei, such fusion is that to form endosperm. This type of fusion is known as triple fusion. Okay, this process of fusion, that is fusion is combining. This process of fusion of second male gamete with this polar nuclei, it is called triple fusion. Why it is called triple fusion? Because you can see that in this fusion, in this combining process, you have a male gamete, that is it has one nucleus, and you have polar nuclei. And polar nuclei are what? They have two nucleus. So one nucleus is combining with two. It gives you a 3 nuclear structure. And this, because you are getting a 3 nucleate structure, it is called triple fusion. Because 3 things are being fused, are being combined in this process. So during sexual reproduction in flowering plants, you have 2 kinds of fusion. The first fusion of one male gamete with the egg to form zygote, it is called syngamy. This process of combination is called syngamy. The next process, that is second male gamete combines with polar nuclei to form endosperm. This is called triple fusion. And because 2 types of fusion are involved in this single reproduction, it is known as double fertilization. I hope you understood this, that because syngamy and triple fusion occur simultaneously. So this type of reproduction in flowers is known as double fertilization. And this is again a very important question. You will be asked in exams, and it is a lengthy question, a long question, that what do you mean by double fertilization? So firstly, you will define double fertilization includes 2 types of fusion. The first one is syngamy and the second one is triple fusion. During syngamy, one male gamete fuses with the egg to form zygote. During triple fusion, second male gamete fuses with the polar nuclei to form endosperm. And because 2 processes of fusion occur in a single cycle, the whole process is called double fertilization. Fertilization also means fusion. And double means what? 2 times. So you have to explain where you have fusion 2 times. So you see the first time is syngamy and the second time is during triple fusion. This is, I think, a very clear, now you are clear with all the concepts. What is syngamy, what is triple fusion, and what is double fertilization. Double fertilization includes both these processes, syngamy and triple fusion. So if you get a question in examinations, you have to explain. Firstly, you will write the definition that double fertilization is a process in which fertilization occurs 2 times. And what are the 2 times? The first time, male gamete combines with the egg to form zygote. This process is called syngamy. The next process of fertilization is called triple fusion, in which the second male gamete combines with polar nuclei to form endosperm. And then you will explain how the male gametes are produced, how they reach the ovule, whatever processes we have done here. Everything you have to explain, from the pollen landing on the stigma, then the identification. This is actually the flow chart of double fertilization process which I have made. And you have to understand this concept, and then you can easily learn it. If you have understood, there is no need to learn it. You can write, you should remember the terms. And these are the different types of cells I told you. You have 2 cells which are called synergids. These are present at the base. Then you have egg cell which is present above synergids. In between you have 2 polar nuclei. Why they are called nuclei? Because they are not covered with cell membrane. And then you have 3 cells which are called antipodals. If you can remember the name polar nuclei, egg, synergids, antipodals, it is well and good. If you cannot remember the name, there is no problem. You just have to remember polar nuclei, then you just have to remember egg. No need to remember the name synergids and antipodals because these are not mentioned even in your books. So this is the process of double fertilization, starting from the identification and continuing to the last. Okay, I hope you got the process. This is again a diagram for double fertilization. What you have, see, you have a pollen grain. This pollen grain, when it is identified by the stigma, the pollen grain is allowed to form a pollen tube. This pollen tube, it contains 2 cells or 2 nucleus. Okay? Then you have this ovule. See, in the ovule you have 2 polar nuclei in between, and then you have 3 cells. One of the cells at the base is known as egg cell. This is of importance. Then how the fertilization occur? With polar nuclei, one male gamete fuses and it forms endosperm. The second male gamete fuses with the egg. And it forms what? Yes, this forms zygote. So these are the process. This fusion to form zygote, it is known as syngamy. And this kind of fertilization where polar nuclei fuse with male gamete to form endosperm, this is known as triple fusion. And triple fusion plus syngamy, both these processes are known as double fertilization. So these are the processes which you should remember. I hope you have understood the process. If you are given a question in exam to define syngamy, then you have to write that fusion of male gamete with the egg cell to produce zygote is called syngamy. If you are asked what do you mean by triple fusion? Triple fusion is fusion of male gamete with the 2 polar nuclei to form endosperm. And because here 3 cells are combining, or 3 nucleus are combining with each other, 2 nucleus of this polar nuclei and 1 nucleus of male gamete, and hence it is called triple fusion because 3 nucleus are undergoing the process of fusion. And if you are asked double fertilization, I told you, you have to write it completely in detail with a perfect diagram also. You have to, do not skip diagrams in biology, okay? This is a simple diagram, you can make it. And if you have understood, you will learn it. You just see it 2 to 3 times and you will learn it perfectly. And then I have given you a flow chart to learn the process of double fertilization. You can write it in the form of points. Make the answers in the form of points. Do not try to make them in the form of a long paragraph, okay? If you know the concepts, you can easily make the points. You can draw flow charts, draw the diagrams, write every process, the names perfectly, then you'll easily attain good marks. So this was a process of double fertilizations which are observed in angiosperms, that is your flowering plants. And this double fertilization is what? It is the mode of sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Now see, after the reproduction, what we have is, here also these are the diagrams of reproduction again. See, this orange portion is the pollen tube. The pollen tube contains 2 male gametes, okay? These are called sperm cells. You can call them male gametes. So these male gametes, this is your egg and these are your polar nuclei. Only the important things are being given in the diagram. So one of the cells will combine with egg to form zygote. This is called what? Correct. This is called syngamy. And next you have the other male gamete will combine with these yellow colored polar nuclei to form endosperm, and this process is called what? Triple fusion. I am repeating each and every term so that you get familiar with the terms and then it would be easier for you to learn. Okay. Now this is the zygote which is formed. It is shown by a purple color and the endosperm is shown by a dark green color. Now what, after formation of zygote and endosperm, what occurs? What happens? So see in the next diagram. This zygote, it forms embryo. So you have to remember that the zygote which is formed, now the zygote develops and divides. This zygote develops and it continuously divides and then at last it forms the embryo. Whereas the endosperm which is formed, you see, with this embryo is what? After this it would develop more. So this is the embryo which is formed from zygote. This is the first point. In the next point, what you have, this dark green endosperm, see, it forms a coating or a thick layer around your embryo. So what is the function of zygote? Zygote continuously divides and it develops into embryo. Whereas the endosperm which is formed, this endosperm, it is a storehouse of nutrients. This endosperm is the storehouse of nutrients. Okay? That is, it contains food and nutrients for the developing embryo. So this endosperm, it is the storehouse of nutrients and it provides nourishment. You can write nourishment, I am writing food here. Okay, it provides food to the developing embryo. Because this embryo needs food to grow more, and this food or the nourishment would be provided by the endosperm. Then a very frequent question asked in boards, it occurs that syngamy and triple fusion, which process occurs firstly? Syngamy occurs first or triple fusion? You have to justify with a clear reason. So what you will say is, the answer would be triple fusion occurs first. That is, first the triple fusion occurs and endosperm forms. Then syngamy occurs. What is the reason? Can you think of any reason why triple fusion occurs first? Because as a result of triple fusion, endosperm forms, and then when syngamy will occur and embryo will form, this endosperm works as a caretaker for the embryo. That is, endosperm provides the food for this embryo to grow more, to develop further. And if syngamy will occur first, what will happen? If syngamy would occur first, then embryo would be formed, but endosperm would not be formed, okay, because the triple fusion is not occurring. And this embryo then, it cannot survive because it would not get any kind of nourishment. It does not have anything to get survived. So we say that triple fusion occurs first. As a result of triple fusion, endosperm forms, and this endosperm is responsible for taking care of this embryo. So triple fusion occurs firstly or initially, then the process of syngamy. So this is a description of double fertilization, and after double fertilization, whatsoever forms inside the flower, okay. Now see, the ovary gets converted to the fruit, and the seed coat, the ovules get converted to the seed. So you have to remember that ovary forms the fruit and the seeds or ovules ovule is present inside the ovary. So this ovule will form the seed. So this completes all the discussion about the process of double fertilization, whatever you have, okay, in your syllabus. Now in the next class, we'll be starting with reproduction, sexual reproduction in human beings. So thank you for joining today's class. I hope you understood each and every topic with all the diagrams. Now we'll be starting with sexual reproduction in human beings in the next class. Till then, if you have any sort of doubt, you can contact us. Thank you.